Welcome to our video on operations in Boom Beach, where we will cover such topics as how the fuck did that laser vaporize 80% of my Zookas? And what do you mean tanks are not a viable troop choice? Operations are, for many of us, the biggest reason Boom Beach still holds any appeal and leads us to jeopardize our personal relationships and marriages by sneaking off to the shitter 50 times a day. In Boom Beach, your task force can start an operation once every 24 hours, giving you the equivalent time that it takes for the Earth to rotate once on its axis to make your hit. In spite of this, many players in your task force only seem to have availability to launch their operation attack in the dying minutes of the op. And then when you ask them on just why the fuck did they drop 4 boats of tanks and 4 boats of Grens on a beach lined with boom cannons and grapplers, all they can say, if they answer you at all, is that it's what they had loaded from the night before, that they didn't scout the base, and didn't want to boost anything more than their resource reward statue, because their power powder supply is getting low, now that it's at 725. In contrast to this, you will likely have players on your team who rush their attack, based purely on the fact that their 10 glowing statues are about to expire. Typically speaking, this type of behavior happens immediately after starting a new operation, where overconfident players are looking at bases which have yet to have nodes up, and their delusion of grandeur leads them to believe that they can solo a 315 force point cooker. Meanwhile, all you can do is watch on in horror as you witness what can only be described as an act of heinous brutality, which would otherwise see someone sentenced to a lifetime in prison for sending 104 women to a grisly death. And then there is the guy who nobody knows, who joined the task force in the middle of the night after one of the co-leads accidentally left the task force membership, as anyone can join. His name is a bunch of Chinese characters. He does not speak English, and he also does not follow notes, which in this case is good, because the attacks that he makes make it seem like he has hands with 7 fingers. In Boom Beach operations, the real measure of your success is directly tied to your position on the global leaderboard. You might have thought that in actual fact, the measure of your success is running the highest possible op with the highest possible completion rate, which would otherwise be true unless you are playing in a 5-man team. Here you can run operations at 0% success and still be the best in the world. In the 5-player scene, you can reach the front page of the leaderboard by running daily foxtrot and soloing bases designed for level 30 players. But then if you decide that you would like to step up to a top 10-man team, then you are in for a shock. Currently standing, the top 10-man team runs massive attack daily, and 20% of the time actually completes it in 10 fucking hits. Can you even imagine the uber-elite skills of the cyborg ninjas who make up their roster? Now we arrive at what many consider to be the most challenging bracket of task force sizes, the 25-player teams. In this day and age, to even get noticed by other top tier teams, you had better be ready to run Forlorn Hope every day. For this you will need an endless supply of alternate accounts, ready to dump shitloads of blue paper on your doorstep, so you can proceed to sabotage more than the Russians in the 2016 US election. Once that is done, the last thing to do is play flawlessly every time you deploy boats on an op. Then, and only then, can you hope to receive an invitation from Crazy Turtle to do a task force war with a scoring system so complicated that at the end of the op, only he knows what the actual score is. Finally we arrive at the clusterfuck of a bracket, otherwise known as the 50-player leaderboard. Here you will find a number 1 ladder position that changes on average 12 times a minute. And if you inspect any of the top 50-player team rosters, especially the ones with team descriptions not written in English, you will find no less than 4 players displaying insignia indicating that they, at some point in time, held the number 1 spot on the global victory point leaderboard. And then if you look at those players' bases, you will notice a trend. If they have less than 1200 VP, then they will be running a statue lineup consisting of 7 PSC. But then if that player that you are inspecting has more than 1200 VP, they are likely to be in the middle of their push and deployed 7 ice. Meanwhile their team for the last 200 days has wiped their ass with Forlorn Hope and currently holds over 36 million force points. But for us mere mortals, who happen to have fingers resembling toes and aren't lucky enough to be robotically enhanced like some next generation Terminator sent back in time to take over the world through the Boom Beach application, we can only hope to rub shoulders with fame in a Reddit All-Stars event where players like Whistler or Zmod attend. So until then, keep planning your hits, use appropriate boost, and join Reddit Valhalla because we're fucking awesome.